big names, state-of-the-art machines, and some staggering performances. The IMOCAs have long been a central part of this French transatlantic classic, and while all those ingredients were still there this time, a hint of change was in the air. A new generation of boats is on its way. New names have been appearing on the leaderboard, and by the finish of this race, some were asking if the pecking order was changing too. Many would argue that Jeremy Bayou's Charal is the most technically sophisticated IMOCA. The ability to use its rudders to provide lift at the stern was seen as a potential game changer. Yet, so far, the Sam Manuard design has struggled to show an upper hand to the fleet. Fourth in the Vendée Globe was good, but Bayou was 10 days behind race winner Charlie Dallin on Massif. That boat was also in the Transat, but this time sailed by Sam Goodchild and Lois Berraha. Bayou was also going to be under pressure from teams who were more current too, and arguably more up to speed. 11th hour racing, Alagrande Mape, Paprec Arkea had all come straight from the Ocean Race Europe. And then there were the new launches and relaunches like Les Petits Doudous and 4 Cadlami Caline. The bottom line was clear. The competition in the 18-boat IMOCA fleet was tough, with 36 sailors all looking to make their mark. On paper, Johan Richom and Corentin Aurot on Paprec Arkea were highly fancied. But a collision with a navigation buoy less than 2 hours after the start saw their chances wiped out as they had to return to port for overnight repairs. Massif Santé Prévoyance, the boat that Charlie Dallin had beaten Richom in to win the Vendée, was being sailed in this race by British sailor Sam Goodchild and Lois Berraha. This Verdier design had set the pace non-stop around the world, and more recently had won the Défi Azimut with this pairing on board. And then there was 11th hour racing. As Malizia Sea Explorer, this distinctive-looking boat had placed 12th in the Vendée under Boris Herrmann, and 4th in the Ocean Race Europe when Brit Will Harris had also been on board. Solid performances, but still not at the sharp end of the fleet. Now sold to 11th hour racing, and with skipper Francesca Klapsic and Will Harris as co-skipper, it was time to see what could be achieved. Completing the fancied frontrunners was Charal. Reckoned to be unmatchable for pace when conditions were right, Bayou also had co-skipper Morgan Legravier aboard. Having won the previous 2 Transats, there could surely be no better pick. After a punishing upwind passage westwards in the English Channel, it was Massif that led around the western tip of France, with Charal and Alagrande Mape sailed by Thomas Ruan and Ambrolio Beccaria in pursuit. Then the IMOCA fleet had the first of its resets as everything slowed down in the face of an extended ridge of high pressure in the south of Biscay. But as the breeze slowly filled in behind them, and after numerous jibes, it was Charal that called the shifts most successfully, leading around Cape Finisterre. This was known to be a boat that was blisteringly quick downwind, carrying that speed deeper than many of its rivals. But as they reached Madeira and then onwards towards the Canaries, high pressure once again came on the scene. With the Canaries needing to be left to starboard, the first 8 boats bunched right up. Weather models were showing the best breeze close to the West African coast, and at times some of the frontrunners were a little more than a mile off the Saharan desert beach. Massif and 11th hour emerged at the front of this gaggle as jibe followed jibe. The crews weren't getting much rest in the light and increasingly hot conditions. Finally, something resembling the northeasterly trade winds filled in, and the leading boats were able to lay a course for the Caribbean. As wind speeds increased, so Charal came back into its own, regaining the lead. Massif and 11th Hour were second and third, but it was still tight. There were strong performances from Justine Metro, the highest placed female skipper in the Vendée, sailing teamwork team SNEF with Xavier Macaire. Bureau Valet with Lewis Burton and Clément Comagnac on board, and Initiative Coeur with Sam Davies and Violette Durange. It was pedal to the metal stuff in east to northeasterly trades and relatively flat seas. Speeds in the high 20s were routine, with 25 knot average speeds for a whole 24-hour period becoming the norm. Bayou and La Gravière were sailing a superb race, covering their pursuers jibe for jibe and using their performance edge downwind to extend their lead. So, it had just gone 5:15 in the morning local time, Charal approached the finish, having passed the final mark of the course, Roger de Diamant off the south coast of Martinique.
De l'IMOCA Charal à 5 heures.
The joy and relief of having pulled this off was there for all to see. Charal had at last scored a big win.
C'était une course où ça revenait un peu par derrière, une course d'élastique quand même. Voilà, nous on a mis quand je disais qu'on pensait qu'on avait un angle avec ce bateau, c'est qu'on a vraiment mis tout dans cet angle-là, c'est-à-dire qu'on pensait qu'on arrivait en mettant toutes les choses du côté, le bateau peut aller vite au portant dans le médium, arriver à aller très vite dans le portant dans le médium, et ça veut dire que par exemple au pré, on n'avait pas forcément les bonnes voiles, et dans les dorsales à chaque fois on s'est fait rattraper et puis un petit peu tordre. Donc ça a été des moments difficiles, mais on savait qu'il fallait passer par là. C'est parce qu'on avait fait ces choix-là que pour derrière peut-être avoir l'occasion de montrer qu'on avait fait les bons choix. Et justement au Cap Finistère, on a déjà eu un petit bout au contournement de la dépression au Cap Finistère. On a eu un petit bout de portant où là on a réalisé que on avait ce pouce en vitesse, que c'était vraiment réel et que si on était toujours aux avant-postes en attaquant les alizés, il y avait un vrai bel angle pour la victoire. Ouais.
J'ai eu le sentiment que sur le premier tiers des alizés où on a commencé à faire un peu d'écart, après l'écart il s'est stabilisé pendant un petit moment, on n'arrivait plus à rivaliser, où je crois qu'il y avait une trentaine de milles d'écart avec Massif et puis 11 Hour. Et là, malgré tout, on est vraiment resté mobilisé, on est vraiment resté à fond, à tout donner. Et puis en fait, à ce moment-là, on a réussi à recréer l'écart et de manière assez significative. Et souvent en cycliste, on voit quand le mec il revient dans la roue derrière et que tu réaccélères, ça fait mal mentalement. Et j'ai l'impression que là, on leur a fait mal, d'avoir été capable justement de remettre du charbon à un moment où ils avaient l'impression de pouvoir jouer avec nous. Et je pense que là, on a basculé dans un mode où on s'est dit que c'était la nôtre, quoi.
Non, ça fait plaisir, c'est une très belle course. En IMOCA, c'est toujours très très relevé. 11 Hour, ils ont sorti une belle course. Ils ont bien navigué proprement, ils allaient vite. Massif, on sait qu'ils sont toujours là. Finir si loin devant Thomas, dont on connaît le potentiel du bateau, c'est aussi pas rien. Donc je suis très très heureux. Ouais, c'est le prochain objectif. On va essayer de faire aussi bien en solo qu'en double. Il va me manquer quand même un gros atout à bord, mais je vais essayer de compenser. Et voilà, on a réussi à exploiter le potentiel du bateau là en double, vraiment en s'arrachant, vraiment en étant dessus. Maintenant, il va falloir trouver des solutions pour arriver à le faire en solitaire. Ouais.
Behind the winners, there had been an intense battle. Massif had maintained a slender but consistent second place most of the way across the Atlantic, but Frankie Klapsich and Will Harris on 11th Hour were keeping their competitors on their toes. The tactical jibes continued until, with around 400 miles to run, 11th Hour jibed below Massif and slowly but surely pulled ahead. At the finish, 11th Hour crossed the line just under 6 hours behind Charal and a little under 2 hours ahead of Massif. The podium was complete.
Last 2-3 days have been particularly intense. When you have boats around you that start going faster and you know retaking you, it adds a whole bunch of stress to it. And so a couple of days ago went through a little bit of a down moment of losing places, but turning up here in third place, even if we're used to winning the rest of the year, is a good result and happy with it. Learned a lot sailing with Lewis, had a great time, and lots of things to do better next time. So the overall feedback's positive.
It's been really special, the entire preparation, The team, had a really quick turnaround after the Ocean Race Europe, and they just put so much work into like making sure the boat was perfectly ready. Like we didn't have really any issue, and it's for the entire team. We were only the two of us on board, but it's really for the entire team.
And compared to the intensity of all the other races, how does this compare?
It felt sometimes a bit like the Figaro.
Yeah.
We were hand steering, taking a little sleep here and there. It definitely felt a bit like the Figaro, and I guess it's a really cool part of it. I think everybody else out there was pushing the same, and being pushed in that way and having to like fight back. It's a pretty cool way to race.
That last 24 hours was probably up there with some of the most intense, along with the start day. It was super wavy out there. We were losing control of the boat a few times last night, and I think we just said, we're just going to give it everything. We trust the boat now. We've done a lot of sailing with it. We know how hard we can push it, and we just did that and managed to just keep sailing past them. We made some small little moments where we could jibe and sort of just trusted our feelings and said, okay, we'll just try and sail our race. And it got a bit tight there at the end. We had a cloud coming in and giving us a really horrible shift.
Yeah.
Suddenly went from
stressful.
being a nice relaxed finish to very stressful, so not much sleep now, but in the end it all turned out good, and to come in ahead was just it's very cool. Proves we know what we're doing.
The reliability of the boat is just incredible. We were able to just push the boat, and in moments where I was like, "Ooh, is this okay?" and the boat is just taking it, and for me that gives me a lot of confidence, to be able also to do it by myself. Maybe not as good, but we will.
It's probably up there with one of my top 3 results ever. I think it's to finish second in the Transat Cafe L'Or is it's
pretty big.
It's very cool. So I think it was just very it's the whole team that's allowed us to really trust ourselves and trust the boat, and it's thanks to them and all the preparation that they've done that we could just fully go out there and sail our own race and come away with a good result. So it's big thanks to them as well.
The 11th hour racing result is one that underlines once again the speed potential of this design. Initially at her launch in 2022 as Milizia and clearly a more voluminous, bulky form, there were questions as to whether this boat could be a good all-rounder. But this year though, a constant process of development, the team has proved that the VPLP design is both quick and reliable. Which is also why there has been plenty of interest in Armel Tripon's latest launch, Le Petit Doudou, which is a sister ship to 11th hour racing. Unfortunately, the Transat delivered some teething issues, forcing her crew to slow down. But before the start, Planet Sail reporter Marcus Hutchinson caught up with skipper Armel Tripon to find out what refinements had been made, starting with the innovative approach to the boat's construction.
This boat was built and launched in June this year, and we built with declassified fiber carbon from the aeronautical from Airbus, and this carbon fiber was declassified because the date was over, and Airbus threw it, and it's around 100 tons per year. Which is true, and we use just 2 tons. It's about 65% of the boat was built with this declassified fiber.
Okay, so 2 tons of carbon fiber, and also the metal. You've recycled titanium, I believe, from the medical industry. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. It's what all the piece or the gear on metals on our boat are in titanium, and it's the same component that the medical elements. Yes, for knees, exactly. We want to organize a circular system.
Yes.
And this little bears is in titanium recycled.
Cool.
Okay.
From medical.
Waste. And we have 4 or 5 tons, and we are discussing with different organizations, with institutions and brand to help us to organize this industry. because it's around, I think, perhaps 100 or 150 tons per year, and we can avoid to throw away.
Let's talk a bit about the boat itself now. This is from the same tool as a boat that might be more familiar to a lot of our viewers, Militia, but with some differences.
The hull is the same, but for the deck we modify some parts, and on the front it's a little bit frégate, and then we below the
Freeboard is lower.
yes 20 centimeters, and we redefine the roof, and then change the foils, the rudder, and different aspect for the ergonomy, and it's a V2 with amelioration.
But we know that, for example, Militia was designed very much for sailing with 5 crew on board. Do you have the same philosophy, or are you only interested in the Vendée Globe?
No, it's the same philosophy, because it was a little bit complicated to modify more, and in fact it's really nice to be on with a big volume, and yes, it's cool when we are sailing on with crew. And then for the next Vendée Globe, it will be on time to organize the ergonomy on board for one people. But
Meanwhile, back on the racecourse, Alagrande Mappe finished 4th with teamwork SNEF 5th. Sam Davies and Violette Durange managed a strong 6th, having got the better of Bureau Valley, overtaking them on their last night at sea. Impressively, and with the last few boats still to arrive, there have been no retirements in the IMOCA fleet. A few pit stops for repairs perhaps, but all 18 are looking set to finish. Attention now turns to the Class 40s, and the drama of the North-South split in the fleet. Who called this right? Next time we'll find out.